Prologue. Chains woven by tradition. In the ancient lands of Western Yan and Yi, duty was not a choice, it was destiny. Kings married for alliances, princes lived for sacrifice. Love was a weakness history did not permit. Emperor Zhao Yan was the perfect ruler of such a world. Unfeeling, unyielding, untouched, until fate placed Prince Lin Ziyu in his path, and the heavens themselves began to tremble. Chapter 1. When Silence Spoke. The first time Zhao Yan saw Lin Ziyu, the world did not stop, but something inside him did. Amid the ceremonial grandeur of Yi's palace, where every movement was measured and every word rehearsed, Ziyu stood like an unscripted verse. He did not tremble. He did not lower his gaze in fear. Instead, he asked calmly, "Do you ever tire of being alone, Your Majesty?" The court froze. Zhao Yan should have ordered his execution for such insolence. Instead, he replied quietly, truthfully, "I do not remember what that feels like." Ziyu's eyes softened. "Then, perhaps, you have always been." Chapter 2. A Heart Learns to Beat. The political marriage between Zhao Yan and Princess Lin Ruyin was set, but behind closed doors something forbidden began to bloom. Late-night conversations turned into stolen moments. Ziyu challenged him. Ziyu understood him. Ziyu saw him not as emperor, but as a man who had forgotten how to feel. "You rule the world," Ziyu said one evening, standing beneath lantern light. "But you have never lived in it." Zhao Yan stepped closer. "Teach me." And Ziyu did. He taught him laughter. He taught him gentleness. He taught him what it meant to want something not as a ruler but as a person. But love like theirs was dangerous. Chapter 3. The World That Refused Them. The truth did not stay hidden. Whispers spread like wildfire. A scandal, a disgrace, a sin against heaven and tradition. The court erupted in fury. Ministers demanded punishment. Generals threatened rebellion. Even Yi's elders called it a betrayal of blood and duty. Princess Ruyin stood in the center of it all. And then she did something no one expected. "I refuse this marriage." Gasps filled the court. She turned to Zhao Yan, her voice steady. "My life is not a bargaining chip. And my brother is not a sacrifice." Then to Ziyu, "If you are going to love him, then don't you dare do it halfway." That day, the fragile peace between kingdoms shattered. War loomed. Chapter 4. Choosing love over fear armies gathered. Not just for power, but for control over what love was allowed to exist. Zhao Yan stood before his generals, his voice cold as ever. "Anyone who cannot accept my rule may leave. You would risk the empire for this?" One minister spat. Zhao Yan's gaze darkened. "No, I am saving it." Meanwhile, Ziyu faced his own court. "They call this unnatural," a noble sneered. Ziyu stepped forward, unshaken. "What is unnatural," he replied, "is a world where people are forced to live without truth. The battlefield was no longer just land. It was belief, and they were fighting history itself." Chapter 5. The War That Changed Everything. The conflict was swift but fierce. Not all stood against them. Some soldiers laid down their weapons. Some ministers defected. Some people chose hope over fear. Zhao Yan fought like a storm. Ziyu stood beside him, not behind. Together, not emperor and prince, but equals. When the final opposition fell, silence spread across the battlefield. The old world had cracked. Now came the question, what would replace it? Epilogue. A new dynasty of the heart. Years later, history spoke of Zhao Yan not as a tyrant, but as the emperor who changed the laws of heaven. Marriage was no longer bound by rigid expectation. Duty no longer demanded the death of self. Love was no longer forbidden. At the heart of the capital, a new palace garden bloomed open to all. And beneath the plum blossoms, Zhao Yan stood beside Lin Ziyu, no longer hidden, no longer forbidden. "Do you regret it?" Ziyu asked softly. Zhao Yan took his hand openly, without fear. "I regret," he said, "only the years I lived without you." Ziyu smiled, and this time, there were no walls between them. No crowns heavy enough to pull them apart. No world strong enough to deny them. Because they had not just chosen love, they had rewritten destiny itself.